Okay, MegaWhale team, welcome back to the channel, guys. Thanks for tuning into today's video. We are going to talk about Bitcoin today because there is a lot to talk about and something really good has happened. Bitcoin has managed to push back above the 9-year trend line, the trend line that we had to hold, the trend line which was providing our last little bit of support. The macro trend, guys, the macro trend, we have pushed back above it. Really good to see. And of course, this is all lining up with our 18K prediction. We predicted, if you're new to the channel, guys, head over to Twitter real quickly. You can see the pin post. You know, we've been talking about this for a very, very long time. Our pin post over here, you can see we called for a retest of that trend line a very, very long time ago. And we saw that retest, and that is kind of where we said, you know, the bottom is in. This is the bottom. This is where we're buying Bitcoin. This is where I personally bought Bitcoin. This is where I suggested everyone to buy Bitcoin, right on that retest over here. But since then, guys, we saw a nice rally upwards. We got rejected. We've come back down. We lost it. It was looking a little scary for a bit, guys. We're going to talk about that today. But we've managed to push back above the trend line, which is really, really good news. Okay. We're going to talk all about this today. We're going to talk about this recent move because, yeah, the recent move has been an explosive one. It looks like it's exhausting. It looks like we could see a pullback, maybe back down to 20,000, even potentially mid-19,000 level. But we'll suss it out and we'll talk about it in today's video. Before you get started, guys, head down to the pinned comment, click the link, go ahead and click the link to our Telegram channel, get access to all of our charts, update analysis. We post only the relevant information in there. We're not just posting a million charts a day. We're just posting what you need to keep you up to date with everything, so you're not going in blind to the market. So you're aware of what's happening. We post a whole range of videos in there as well and other content, so check it out. If you're interested in their VIP channel, you can go ahead and click down below to get more information about our trading channel. We have a scalp trading chat and we have our swing trading channel there. Hundreds of % profit already this month, massive amount of wins, very, very few losses so far. So go ahead and check it out. Let's talk about this chart. So I guess there's a few things I want to talk about today. And first and foremost, I guess we can go ahead and start on that small time frame. Now let's go down to the hourly and talk about this recent move, because this recent move looks like we are starting to exhaust. This is what exhaustion looks like. We're kind of pushing up, very explosive, rounding at the top over here. It looks like we're almost starting to exhaust. And we haven't really hit any major resistance points. We have hit, if you remember back to this area here, which was around, you know, late August, we're talking about the $21,600 to $21,800 level, that being the major trigger level to send us upwards again, even higher to around 23,000. If you remember that video, we were talking about that a fair bit. We actually talked about that a fair bit. We said 21,800, 21,600. These are major levels that we need to break above. What we've seen here, we've seen a significant rally upwards. We actually rejected from the 21,600. And that's not a random level. Like we said, that's a level that we've had on our eyes a while now. That's a really important trigger point for the Bitcoin chart, a really strong resistance range there that we've now come down and actually pushed up and rejected from. So it looks like the top of this move is exhausting. It looks like we are exhausting here. The next move upwards would start only when the push above here happens. So we are closer to the top of this current move than we are to the bottom. It is much more likely we see a retracement here than we just continue to go upwards. Generally on these FOMO driven rallies, we see a lot of technical analysis, a lot of indication that the price is going to retrace, and we just end up keep going up. Similar to what we saw at the bottom over here. We look like we were going to trace for a while over here, but you know, for a 12-hour period, we just kept hammering down. We're seeing the flip of that. We're seeing the opposite here. We're seeing a overextension. We're massively overbought on most time frames. We're pushed up a lot. We've reached a major ejection. Don't get me wrong, guys. I love that Bitcoin has gone up. I'm making a lot of money from my holdings. But we have to look at it realistically, objectively. I understand that we've come up a lot. We've come up like 15% from this low over here, 16%. We've touched a major resistance point over here. It is much more likely that we expect to see some sort of retracement, or at least you should be more aware of the potential move downwards again to retrace this move a little bit before we consider longing here, before we consider buying more until this level breaks. So what do I think is going to happen on a small time frame? Let's go ahead and take a look. So here's a current chart for Bitcoin. Again, we're seeing this sort of rounded formation. And when I see this kind of stuff, I actually like to invert the price. So we're going to go ahead and invert the price. We're going to bring up our moving averages. And this is my moving average setup over here. You can see all my moving averages. If you want to use the market side for A, it's really, really handy just to get a bunch of moving averages on the screen. These are the moving averages I use. I use it for scalp trading as well, but primarily I use it to identify the strength of the trend. And the strength of the trend is very, very telling where the price goes, because the price moves with momentum. When you have positive momentum and positive strength, it will generally move quite fluidly within that direction. So what are we looking at here? Structure-wise, we're looking at some sort of rounded formation. There's no real definitive pattern here. We've had many, many small time frame patterns over here, all of which have kind of been destroyed and just broken upwards. A lot of bearish reversal patterns occurred within this period on a small time frame, but nothing has really set in stone. Nothing's really moved in any direction. What we are looking at here is some degree of a move upwards, similar to what we saw at the bottom. If I go ahead and invert this chart and I take you all the way back down over here, similar to what we saw over here. Okay, we had this curve, we had this rounded formation over here. We found around the bottom for a bit, and then we slowly moved back upwards. I do expect us to see something along the lines of that. Now, the trigger for the move downwards, guys, we're going to use a 15-minute chart. If we lose this red line, which is the 50 moving average, we do expect a cascade drop all the way back down to 20,500. 20,500 will be that short-term bear trigger. That will be our move downwards. We expect that to happen on the short term if we are able to lose that 50 moving average. Okay, the 20,500 level is a decently strong support now. We found a lot of support over here. We got a few rejection points here, and obviously this was a nice support flipping point over here. So not a huge support, but it's not a minor support. It's a pretty decent support. It will be the next logical price target for Bitcoin, assuming we head down from here. Okay, so we're looking for that target. Of course, the move upwards, what we're looking for here, we're looking for a push through this level. We're looking for a retest of this level. Only after we get the retest of that level, we find that level of support, then we'll be looking for taking longs on Bitcoin again. There's no point going into late longs. It is better to look for shorts at this point. The price continues upwards. Well, our spot bags will continue to print. We continue to make money. We just go ahead and long at a different period of time. Okay. Let's take a look at some other stuff over here. So this is the macro chart on the log scale again for Bitcoin. We're using the Kraken chart over here. You can see the price has pushed upwards, but here it is. Here's that rejection. We're getting rejected from this level over here. This level has been a pretty strong resistance point. I might adjust that really quickly to 21,600. We can see this area has acted as a strong resistance point a few times. And I think even if we go ahead, and what I might do is I might expand that roughly over here. And let's take a look if I go ahead and adjust this one to 600. You can see once again, we had a rejection point over here. We rejected slightly, then we continued to push upwards, but that did act as a very small resistance point. So we're seeing that point being tested again. It's not a random price point. It's by no means a random price point. It's a point that has provided a somewhat amount of resistance in the past at this level. So we're expecting that to continue to provide some sort of resistance. If we look at the VPVR or VRPV, we can see that kind of tell us exactly what's happening. We can see that this level here where the POC is lined up is a strong resistance point. It is a point where either we're going to find a lot of resistance from or we're going to flip. And the VRPV is a very handy tool in predicting where the price will go, because we can see that if we are able to push through this level, we have this little gap here that leads us up to $23,000, and that will send us up to $23,000. Like we've said, all the way back in August, we said if we push past 21,800, we will go to 23,000. Of course, the next trigger is above 24,000, that local high pushing us upwards to 29. So let's talk about that. Let's go zoom out again. Let's talk about that move. We're kind of breaking it up over here, talking little bit by little bit. But we've defined the short term now. We've defined the midterm. We've told you guys what to expect on either direction. Let's talk about what happens now if we do push upwards, if we do push down, if we go lower. Let's talk about the directions. So like we just said, guys, that trigger for the push upwards to 23, potentially higher, we have this downward sloping resistance. This downward sloping resistance, guys, is our bear market resistance. This entire move here, this entire pattern, our descending channel, guys, our bear market resistance level, this is our bear market. This is quite frankly the bear market. When we break through that resistance level, we are officially out of the bear market. That is it. The bear market is done. We're still quite a while off. If we go ahead and draw a vertical line from where we are currently to where that resistance is. By no surprise, it is sitting around $29,000, just as we said before about 20 seconds ago. $29,000 currently where it's sitting is where that major point of resistance is. Lines up perfectly with this horizontal resistance zone. So let's talk about that. What happens if we push through? So if we push through this level, we can expect a retest and we're moving upwards here, okay? Every single point over here, this point and this point, these are key rejection points. So you can expect retracements here unless these levels are reclaimed as support, similar to what we're doing here, but on a larger time frame. Like we said now, it is more likely we retrace downwards to whatever the price was, we said 20,500 or whatever it was. But if we do push through that major or that minor support resistance zone above us, we can expect the price to go upwards only after a retest. So if you're looking to long and you're getting a long over here, you're looking to sell your position here and you'll rebuy it. This is for futures, of course. Longing your spot position will remain in and rebuy for the next move upwards. You're trying to catch the moves. When you're doing leverage trading, you're not just trying to hold, you're trying to catch the moves, okay? Your spot positions are for holding, your leverage is for catching the moves, okay? So that is what we're looking at from there. And of course, over $48,000, guys, that is bull market mode. That we're in the green, we're going upwards, new all-time high, give it a big tick. We're looking forward to that, okay? That's gonna be exciting. Now, I've had a lot of questions in the last few weeks, particularly in the last few days. They say people have been asking me, Whale, when do you think the bull market will start? When do you think the next bull market will begin? And I guess it comes down to this chart. It really does. I've been saying this entire time. I think the bottom is in. I think the bottom's in. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It doesn't matter. I think the bottom personally is in. And I think by October, I said by October, I think we will break through this resistance. So I think the bear market will be nearing the end at around the end of the year. I think we're going to break through that major resistance at the end of the year. I think we've got a long while to go before we enter a new bull market. Of course, we need to get all the way back up to this level here. That could realistically take a numerous amount of months. I think if we go ahead and line that one up, we're looking at maybe even mid 2023, we'll see something maybe like that. I've got no clue, this is just complete randomness, but we could potentially see our apex convergence over here. Maybe mid 2023, we could push through and start entering a new bull market, and that could take us into 2024, which will go parabolic and kind of lines up with the 4-year cycle. So it kind of makes sense to me. But let's talk about, guys, what happens if we go down? What happens if we lose this trend line again? What happens if we lose a monthly? What happens? Because right now, our premise, our stance, bottoms in. You should have bought your spot bags at 18K. You should already have some sort of degree of Bitcoin holding, and 30% in Bitcoin at the moment. You should already have that. So your stance right now is the bottom is in until it's proven not. Just like, you know, you're innocent until you're proven guilty. The bottom is in until it's not, all right? And the bottom is technically in until this red line is lost on the weekly chart, which is 17,628, okay? What happens if that level is lost? Well, we could see a fake out down to 16K. We talk about that for a while, and this is because we have a major area of support over here, okay? But we lose that horizontal support zone, this gray box, that is when we move our trigger to this level. This is our target, okay? So this isn't something to worry about now. This is something to worry about later. If it happens, it might not even happen. I don't think it will. But if it does happen, that is what we're looking for to occur on the charts. Let's go ahead and do a quick analysis of the total cryptocurrency market cap, the DXY and Bitcoin dominance, and then we'll go ahead and do a technical analysis and take a look at some of the technicals. What are technicals suggesting on the large time frames, short-term time frame? What are the charts actually saying to us? So Bitcoin obviously has seen a nice move upwards lately, and just as when asset prices rise, we see the DXY drop, we see the dollar strength decrease, and we've seen a triple bearish divergence here on the DXY, which is where we had 3 singular peaks and 3 lower peaks on the RSI, which means price is rising, momentum is dropping. That is generally indicative of a move downwards, and it is even more strong when we see a triple divergence. These are very, very strong reversal patterns. They generally don't get ignored. They generally move downwards from this point. So we can expect the DXY to retrace. Where to is the question. I'm not too sure. I don't think I can tell you. Now, it's very, very hard to give you guys an analysis on the DXY when it comes to where it can go. Obviously, there are so many factors that come into play that it can affect this. A lot of economic news coming out this month. We've still got a lot of stuff. Let me go ahead and just double check which things we have and what dates. I've got it written down over here somewhere. We have CPI data on the 13th, which is in 3 days. We have the Ethereum merge on the 15th. We have Mt. Gox claims deadline on the 16th, and we have the FOMC rate hike decision on the 21st. So a lot can happen to shift this. Obviously, I think that the CPI, I think the hike will come in at 0.5%. I think that could be potentially bullish for the market. We've talked all about that already, and we'll talk all about that again leading up to the FOMC. We'll talk about how interest rates impact the market, how interest rates affect the price of assets, and we'll discuss all that leading up to FOMC. But today's video is going for a little bit long already, so I don't want to talk too much more about that, but we'll discuss that later on. So if you're interested in hearing a bit more about that, we'll talk a bit more about that as we get closer, maybe in 2 or 3 days. Total cryptocurrency market cap, as you can see, we did find that bottom over here in June. This was the absolute bottom. This was our retest, guys, of the 2017 all-time high, okay? The bottom was the retest. It's not loading over here. There we go. Of the 2017 all-time high for the total cryptocurrency market cap. This is the total capitalization for every single coin in the market, including Bitcoin, okay? So we saw a retest. We saw a nice reversal pattern play out over here. Nice head and shoulder pattern, inverted head and shoulder pattern. From that inverted head and shoulder pattern, guys, a perfect retest of that pattern, propelling us upwards to the next major resistors. From there, a strong rejection. What have we seen now, though? We have seen a really, really nice bullish divergence on the small time frame, of course, over here. And that has kind of sent us upwards. This is what resulted in this move upwards, which is really, really nice to see. If we zoom out to a larger time frame, let's go 3 days. Let's see what we can see over here. Obviously, pretty much exactly the same thing happening. This trend line extending, we've reclaimed that trend line, pushed back above. We still have those resistance points we've talked about. But if we look at the RSI, guys, we are seeing something over here, which is the RSI is getting close to that breakout point. So we're not really out of the water yet. We're still in a tricky environment, still in a tricky spot. There's no reason to get massively bullish yet. Like I said, we need to clear this level. This is nothing more than a pump at the moment. Until we clear this major level, it is nothing more than just a rally that's been overextended. Really, really important that you don't get overly bullish here. You don't get over FOMO here. You don't start entering positions of massive amounts of capital right now. You're very close to validation points. You may as well wait a little bit longer, just have a little bit more security and safety on your investment rather than just aping into the market. Right now, we're up 16%. It's not how it's done. If you want to buy, you should have bought 2-3 days ago, okay? Let's take a look at the Bitcoin dominance. And Bitcoin dominance has bounced really, really nicely, guys, from this lower level. We talked about this a while ago, but we can see Bitcoin dominance broke from this low level. We talked about all of this. We said, you know, if we lose this level here, we can expect to move back down to about 39%. We went a little bit lower. We went just underneath that trend line, and that could be indicative of the fake out we saw in Bitcoin down below, but we've pushed up. Probably one of the most explosive daily moves that we've seen for a long time on the Bitcoin dominance. We haven't seen some of this since way back in May, which has been a very, very long time now. But provided this holds, guys, this is a bullish reversal pattern, okay? This is a falling wedge. We can expect the price to eventually push back upwards and push upwards. And again, looking at October, November, potentially December for that move upwards. Losing this trend line would be very, very bad for Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to happen, okay? Let's go ahead and do our technical analysis. So we go to a daily chart, a 3-day chart. Here we can see that we're going to be taking a look at a few things. First and foremost, I want to talk about the RSI. And let me just have a quick sip of water. Been talking for a bit now, about 20 minutes non-stop. Okay, so we got a little bit more to go, guys. So far, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment what you think about this recent move, but let's go ahead and get back into it. So obviously we've got a few questions over here, and this kind of poses the question is, where do you think the top was? Do you think the top was, you know, in April? Do you think it was in November? I personally think the top of the cycle was in April. Okay, I believe the top was here. I believe this was nothing more than a blow off top, a manipulated move upwards. I just don't think that was the top personally. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to take the RSI from 2 points. We're going to go ahead and take it the highest point within this move, which is this point over here, the 10th of January. This is the highest point. Okay, obviously bearish divergence from there. We continue downwards, and we're going to extend that one through the all-time high on the 24th of November, and we can see it lines up pretty much perfectly where the price is at the moment. So we're touching a major resistance point, not only on the horizontal level, not only on the VRPV, but also the momentum. The momentum's come to a point of resistance. So if you think the price is going to explode upwards from here right now, you're probably betting on the less likely occurrence. Until we have the data line up with that, we can't expect that to happen. We have to be aware of it happening, but we have our trigger point, okay? So our trigger point is we're pushing through that horizontal resistance that we talked about prior to this, 21,600, 21,800. That will be enough to move the RSI up through here. That will be enough to give us positive momentum confirmation, pushing over the VRPV, pushing over horizontal resistance, reclaiming a 9-year trend line, having that bullish divergence played on a small time frame, and push upwards even higher, hopefully to reclaim this level and even higher. Okay, so we'll wait for confirmation before you make any decisions. Until then, looking for this move to potentially be retraced back to 25,500, which would retest that 9-year trend line. Okay, all in all, guys, RSI looking great. It really is, okay? We've been talking about this RSI for a very, very long time now. We've been talking about it ever since we hit over here, saying, you know, bottom's in, guys, bottom's in, blah, 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 blah. We're heading upwards. And, you know, we've seen a very good reaction on RSI. And we talked about the 34.34 on RSI as well, which was sitting just over here, which is very, very good. We didn't come down and retest. We didn't come down and retest that level. We didn't come down and break through it, which was really, really bullish. But in fact, we bounced above it. So it was really nice to see. Moving on from there, guys, obviously, we've got a few other things to talk about. Let's bring up some moving averages. Let's go to the daily. Let's bring up some moving averages, some short time frame moving averages. What we can see over here, we are getting rejected not only on that level, but also a 50 moving average. And we already know that these larger time frame moving averages, these slower moving averages are very, very good at presenting the facts on whether or not the trend is bullish or bearish. Are we in an uptrend or in a downtrend? Is a trend strong? Is a trend weak? And generally the 50 is a good flipping point for the short-term trend. So the short-term trend is still rejecting on that level, as well as the 50 moving average, similar to what we've seen a numerous amount of times. We've seen a lot of rejections from the 50 if we go back, and obviously the 50 is a level we need to break, and that level will break as we break through a horizontal. Another thing to keep in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at the 200 moving average. I want to take a look at the 200. I want to take a look at the 300 as well. Okay, so here's the 200. Let's go to the 7-day chart. Hopefully it pops up over here. We can see we are still underneath the 200. We did push up past the 200 temporarily and get rejected back down. Not something we've seen before. Okay, we haven't really seen that before on Bitcoin. This was a very, very new thing. We've never seen it before in the history of Bitcoin. A lot of people are confused by it. Generally, when we push back above the 200, we never lose it again. So this is the first time, first time this has happened for Bitcoin. I think it scared a lot of people, and rightfully so. It was a new thing to happen. It was a bearish thing to happen. And, you know, we could find resistance on there now. If you push upwards, that could be a point of resistance. Let's take a look at the 300 for Bitcoin. The 300 is sitting under, still no retest of the 300, but still acting as a potential point of buying, a potential reversal point if we do head to that level. So something to keep in mind on over there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Gaussian channel. And we'll go to a small time frame. Let's start on the 3-day. So the 3-day, obviously, we still have a lot of distance to catch up on the 3-day. Not looking too great over there. And one day we're pushed into the Gaussian channel, which is nice. When we push into the Gaussian channel, we end up pushing through or up to the top of the Gaussian channel. We did push through the Gaussian channel here, but we got instantly rejected. Okay, we still pushed through. Push in, we end up pushing through, again instantly rejected, but we push through. So we can expect this trend to see some sort of continuation. If we do break through at level, there's a lot of data suggesting that we will push upwards again through the Gaussian channel, which will be very, very nice to see. Obviously, if we go ahead and look at the 1-day and we go ahead and invert the chart, bring up the RSI with us, we can see that we have, if we go ahead and draw over here to here, we have a bearish divergence on the RSI, or what we call a bullish divergence if we invert the chart, which again is suggesting we head downwards from here, or upwards at least if we flip the chart. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it there, guys. I think that's all I want to talk about. If you want to learn how to trade like me, go ahead, listen to the Crypto Academy with the Crypto Academy course. And if you want to trade where I trade, start the Bitget, guys. Bitget is by far the best exchange to trade on. I've traded on 100, well, not 100, I've traded on about 10 exchanges over my life, a couple of Australia exchanges, a couple of global exchanges, but Bitget is by far the best exchange I've actually traded on. You can find out more information about that one in a second. And of course, if you like the video, guys, consider liking, subscribing, commenting. It all helps the algorithm. It all helps me get this content out to more people, and obviously share some real analysis, some honest analysis, which doesn't have ulterior motives or bias or bullshit. It's just pure, honest technicals, okay? I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's video. Have a great day. Okay guys, we're going to be taking a quick look at Bitget, and now Bitget is where I personally trade. I highly recommend signing up to Bitget with the link down below. Bitget is probably the best exchange out there if you are a trader. It has a variety of features, and the best things about Bitget are a few things. Number one, it's non-KYC. Well, KYC is completely optional on Bitget. Now, there's a whole variety of exchanges out there nowadays that have gone completely centralized, sharing your personal trading information and information of decentralized governments and different governing bodies. Bitget allows that option to be left to the individual, to the user of the exchange. You can decide to non-KYC, you can decide to KYC. It's completely your choice. Another really beneficial thing about Bitget, and the biggest reasons why I'm sitting here actually recommending Bitget to all my followers, is that it has 0.02% trading fees. All right, this is significantly lower than any other cryptocurrency trading exchange out there. FTX, Binance, could name a bunch more, KuCoin. It is significantly lower, by 500% lower than the lowest exchange out there, Binance. Another big thing, guys, is there's no global restrictions on who can use Bitget. Anyone from anywhere can sign up to Bitget and get access to the entire exchange of all the tools, whether it be futures or spot. No matter which country you're in, you can use futures and spot. If you're in America, for say, and you want to get access to more spot trading pairs, such as Binance Global, and you can't sign up, well, guess what? They've got 250 different spot trading pairs here on Bitget to get access to, and you can get access to all of these. If you're in Australia and you want to access the futures market and you can't trade futures, you can do it here on Bitget. You can get access to the future market and start trading with leverage. And finally, guys, if you do want to sign up to Bitget, go ahead, click that link down below to sign up to Bitget, and you'll get access to the reward center over here, which enables up to $4,000 in rewards by completing 5 tasks. All right, guys, we'll get back to the video. Thanks for listening to that. Okay, guys, I want to take a quick moment to introduce the Become a Trader course at the end of this video. This course was designed by myself and Wolves of Crypto. We put together a whole variety of knowledge to create the most cohesive, understandable, and beneficial trading course there is on the market. If you're interested in learning how to become a trader, if you're interested in learning how to use technical analysis, if you're interested in learning how to apply market analysis to different cryptocurrencies, this is a course for you. We teach you everything from the fundamentals, the basics about what cryptocurrency is, how to trade cryptocurrency, mastering the craft of cryptocurrency, diving into a whole range of technical indicators, market structures, and teaching you how to utilize these when finding trades and applying risk management strategies to become more profitable over time. We even dive into market psychology, human psychology, and provide a variety of different videos and educational content, including courses and quizzes to assist your learning along the way. If this is something you're interested in, guys, go ahead and contact us down below at the cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com. We'll send you an email back with all the course information, the structure, the payment details, and everything else you need to know. That being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video today, and we'll catch you in the next one.